my team can come to their own conclusions, which are frequently mine, that see the benefit to them. People don't do things because you tell them to. They do that because they see the benefit to them.
Hey, everybody. What's up? Welcome back to the Reside Platform Podcast. I'm your host today, Suneet Agrawal. And today I'm joined by Kathy Courtney. Kathy, what's going on with you?
Kathy, Suneet, it's raining here in Reno. We don't get that much in the desert. It's kind of nice. It feels like fall.
It does. I think it might be fall. Is it official yet?
Better get that cement poured around your pool soon.
Yeah, yes. So, guys, if you don't know Kathy, she's done so many great things in real estate, from running a mega team before anyone knew what a mega team was, from leading at a franchise level, and now building the Courtney Group into a powerhouse team at LPT Realty. And you were voted Northern California's #1 luxury realtor. Kathy, all these things you've done in your real estate career, we've been a broker, owner, coach, CEO, luxury agent. What made you decide to start over and build this team at LPT?
Before we do that, can I tell you a little quick story? I had an agent come in last week to interview with me, and she's coming from Sacramento. And for those of you who don't know, Reno and Sacramento are about an hour apart. And so I said, well, have you ever heard of Suneet Agrawal? And she went to spitting and stuttering. She goes, Suneet, yeah, she was total fangirling on you. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he's a partner of mine. And so I had her from Suneet. Thank you for the easiest recruiting interview ever.
You are welcome.
So anyway, you were saying how wonderful I was.
Yeah, super wonderful, super cool woman. Your boots at the Tahoe event won the entire day.
I got them on today if you want to see them.
Didn't you get those boots from a client or something?
No, I got those boots when we were at a Maverick event in Dallas. The girls went shopping. We got some hats and we got some boots.
So what made you start over and build a team from scratch at LPT?
When I got into real estate, which was, back in the dark ages, I had burned my life into the ground. Like I was living in a barn, mucking out 25 stalls every morning, which is good exercise. And I was driving a car that would only turn right. So a friend talked me into going to real estate school. I got my license. I didn't want to be there. Thought it was totally beneath me. But here's the point, is that I said, you know what? And I had burned through my whole life. That was my opinion of what had happened. I had burned through my whole life and I was there and I didn't want to be there. And so I made a decision. And the decision was to draw a line in the sand. I'm here, I'm now. I didn't want to be, I don't like this. And I said, but that's it. I'm going to make something out of myself and I'm going to make something out of my life and I'm going to understand this game, this career, and sort of became a student of the game. So, fast forward all through the rest of that stuff and we come to January of last year. Okay. So we're talking we're talking 18 months ago. And I had a team back in the day, back when there weren't teams and, it was like a mega team, 5 agents, 200 deals a year we were doing. But I was like the only one, right? So whatever. I got so burnt out. I was a crispy critter. We were on the East Coast, every deal. And, God bless them. But there's 2 kind of negotiators in this world. There's a straight square shooter, like you, I'd take for a square shooter. And there's the handlers. Now, if you're a handler by nature, as you tend to be in the Northeast, and I shout out to all my Northeastern friends, it's sport to get every drop out of everybody. And so I was just burnt. I was a crispy critter. I said, no more teams ever. I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to do it again, ever. So come to last January, and you asked me what decided to do it. I honestly think it may have been a moment of insanity, looking back in retrospect. And I thought, you know what? I'm rested up. It's just me and my dogs, French bulldogs. Shout out for the Frenchies. Shout out. And my horses. And so I said, you know what? I've done a lot of stuff. I've done stuff. I've accomplished stuff in the real estate career. And I had a team back, before there was any path crafted for that. And I really like what's happening in the real estate industry now, because my quest was always to build a business in the business of real estate. And that's what's going on right now. We have businessmen. The king. You're the king, right? Of business people in the business of real estate. And the dynamic has changed so much. And I love to see new people, young people getting in with intention. This is going to be my career, as opposed to, oh my God, did I fail out as a used car salesman, which is what I thought I was. So I thought, I got this idea. I said, I want one more accomplishment. I want to go back and do one more big thing, kind of like the capstone of my career. And I said, I want to get this done. I want to get it done in 4 years. And not only that, I want to kind of use it as a vehicle for kind of giving back maybe what I've learned, because I've learned a lot. So I got this bright idea that I'm going to do this. And I have a belief that I've learned along the way, is that if you want to do something, look around to the people who are doing it really well. People that you vibe with, people that you respect, people that you admire, that you'd like to mentor, and the model that they're doing, and just copy that model, right? So I wanted to build a real estate team, the modern team, with all today's tech stack, today's standards. I want to do it right. And so that's what led me to Reside, actually, because I looked around and I saw you guys were kind of infant, and I saw what you're doing, and I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going all in, right? I made a decision. And so I started a year ago, April, with the team.
Yes, awesome. So, what do you think about the term? And thank you for the testimonial, by the way. You gave me two. Did you call me the king?
I might have, yeah. Be good. We might move you to emperor.
Yeah, whatever. So, what do you think about the term messy middle, Kathy?
It gives me a stomach ache when I think about the term,
Yeah, why is that?
because I'm living it. I think a couple things. Okay, one, and this doesn't have anything to do with the messy middle, but I'm kind of a student of the game, and as I look out into the industry going forward, I see the cloud brokerages being a dominant force, but I also see two real models that really, really work. One of them is the solo agent. Okay, you're a solo agent. 24, 48 transactions a year. You spent several years getting there. You bring on a buyer's agent, showing assistant. You have an assistant, a couple of VAs. I think that is an awesome model. The other big model that I see coming on in the future is teams. And teams are getting bigger, multi state, and they're finally being run like real businesses by real business people. And so I said, I want to learn that. It's something new. I want to learn that. And what was the rest of the question? Oh, the messy middle. We're talking about the messy middle. And the other thing, too, is I know from having done it before and watching other teams fail, and they usually fail in the messy middle. I know, and I wanted to get this accomplished in 4 years, because I ain't getting any younger, right? And then I want to get it done in 4 years. And so I thought, I don't want to spend as much time in the messy middle as possible, because you got to go through that, right? You got to go through that. And that the messy middle is the stage from, you're this successful realtor looking for a way to expand, and it seems kind of like, the next, oh, I should build a team now. And think that through. If you're thinking it, call me, talk to me, because it's not always the best idea. But so that's a process, right? And it's a process that's going to take a while, and it's a process you got to learn, and it's a process that can be very expensive, because when you look at it, as you build a team, you got to find the team members, get them trained, get them into production. And, it's going to take you 6 months, really, or so. I'm working on shortening that right now, but until you're seeing any real income. So you got a lag time, and now you got a team of, you got 2 agents, 4 agents, 6 agents, but they're all, it's still 6 months till you get paid, and you still paying the bills, and all you're learning. And like me, I was in personal production, and I did pretty good last year. I was like top 20 in Northern Nevada MLS, if you take out the teams. And, so, okay. And it eats up your time for your personal production. I would advise anybody who's thinking about building a team. And I know I love to hear on your podcasts and others the teams that are super successful, big, several hundred agents, and that's all, a thing. And by the way, I don't want that, but that's a thing. And it's get stars in your eyes, but you need to think it through, man, because that's where the death of a lot of teams are is you get in this messy middle and you run out of financial bandwidth. You can't go into it and not be able to support the team for a while. If you think you're going to end up making more money and have more time, you're crazy, because maybe eventually you can sit around and eat bonbons like Suneet, but not now.
Hey, you've seen me. You think I eat bonbons? Come on, come on.
Okay, play guitars and play with your dogs like
Yeah,
Suneet.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Play guitars is what I want to be doing. Yeah.
You want to be doing. Yeah, so it takes a tremendous amount of your time. It's going to take time away from your production, personal production, which takes money away from the income. There's so many frustrations. There's so many things to learn. It can be really rewarding if you get to the other end of it. But I don't know, Sudeep, maybe you have a statistic on this, but there's got to be a pretty high failure rate.
Well, I mean, so if you talk about small businesses in general, there's a high failure rate.
So like 80 or 90%.
Yeah, something huge, right? Like think about your dry cleaners, think about your restaurants, think about all these small businesses, right? So number one. Number two, there's growth requires sacrifice, right? Like that's just how it goes. If you want to work out and build muscle, it's going to hurt along the way and it's going to be hard, right? So it's the natural part of doing anything, right? Is there is a messy middle. There is a hard part, right? And that's why being in tip top shape is, not that many people are having successful businesses. Not that many people are, because it's about finding the balance, in my experience, between what you're willing to sacrifice for the growth, whether it's professional growth or personal growth. What do you think of that answer, or Kathy?
Well, it brings me back to a call I was having with my coach, Nick McLean.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, right. He could be a king too. I'll make him king too.
He's real good at real estate. He's better than me at real estate. I got business chops, but he's a true real estate guy, 100%.
Yeah. But we're in a coaching call with him, and one of our beliefs actually is we're education based and we believe in personal development. And so Nick and I were talking about this, and in terms of how, and this is kind of a later part of the story, how I've grown, but helping the team with personal development. And the conversation morphed into, if you look at the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, 20% of the people do 80% of the business. Well, a common denominator of that 20%, in fact, I don't think you're going to find anybody without it, that is not really immersed in personal growth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Pareto principle is super fascinating because it is a law almost at this point of anything. And within the 20% in the first 80-20, there's another 20%. And within the 20% of that 80-20, there's another 20%. It goes on and on and on. And then the people who are at the top are worked on themselves the most and have sacrificed.
And they're called Alex Hermosi or Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon, yeah, it's crazy, right? Like he's sacrificed a lot, right? So you guys have experienced some big growth. What, 2 to 20 some odd agents?
Well, the goal is 28. We're at 18 right now.
Okay. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced growing from 2 to 18?
I've had a lot of surprises along the way. I was surprised that about 25% of the people that I hire, that this is just the metrics that I am involved with right now, and I think it's proven out, is that about 25% of the people that you hire are going to make it past the first 6 months. The other thing about the Pareto principle is that 20% of the stuff you do is going to give you 80% of the results you're looking for. But that's good and bad, right? So 20% of the stuff you do is going to give you 80% of the results you're not looking for. So the key is to figure out what that is and get rid of it. I was a babe in the woods, really, and I was just, give me the model. I'm going to follow it. I'm going to do it. I was surprised about the amount of work it took. 12-hour day is common for me right now. I was surprised that everybody's not like me. People go to people. And I had to really deep down and challenge myself. I always listen to you. I don't watch you, but I'm gonna show you for the folks who are watching. It's a T-shirt, okay? So it's a T-shirt that my daughter Anna made me. I was sitting in the office one day and I was just so frustrated, so frustrated about the inability of agents to make an effort to convert a lead. It reminded me of, like, have you ever seen like a nest with baby birds in it? And the mother comes in to feed the baby birds, and all you see is the little beaks going woo, 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 woo. And the mother drops the worm, and but if she drops the worm and it goes right down the side of the beak, they're not like moving their beaks over to catch the worm. They're like, woo, 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 drop another worm. And that's what I felt like the team was with leads. It's like, I'm not, I know they didn't hit the worm. And so Anna, my daughter, she has a sense of humor. She took a picture of me doing that, and she made us, the leadership teams, we have T-shirt that says "Worm Lives Matter" too.
That's funny. That's funny. Did you used to run a brokerage?
I had my own brokerage, yeah.
Okay, so you used to own an indie?
Uh-huh.
So you used to own an indie, and then did you work for a brokerage company or no?
Yeah, I was involved with Keller Williams here and there, and Gary was my coach back in the day, and always tried to get me to open a market center. And I saw the paperwork involved with that, and I'm like, no.
So from owning your indie and then being
I owned my indie, and there were a couple of Keller Williams people who wanted to open a market center there. They were kind of fighting over me because I had copied Gary's own personal market center office exactly. Rip off and duplicate, baby.
yeah.
And I asked for Gary to be my coach as part of that. He had been my coach before. And by then I decided I'm done. I had another coaching company that we had started. Some people may have heard of it. It's called The Core. And so we had started that. And so
No big deal. Just the core coaching. Yeah, no big deal.
and I had moved from Florida to Reno at this point because I ran screaming from the Palm Beach County, right? So I said, Gary, I don't think I'm not gonna do real estate for a while, but thanks. He goes, well, maybe there's something else we could do. And that led to me being the CEO of what was then the agent franchise division of Keller Williams.
Oh, cool.
And that was his first experiment into expansion. He was going to
Wow.
expand with a franchise system. And so that was 2006. And then 7, 8, 9 came along, and that whole project, got put on the back burner.
Yeah. So from running a mega team back in the day to owning an indie to being corporate at Keller, right? To running your team now and the core and running the team now, what are some leadership lessons you've learned that you wish you knew sooner?
I learned that I really didn't know anything about leadership.
Mm. So throughout that time, you don't think you picked up anything?
Well, yeah, I did. I did. But when you're a coach, it's different. We're coaching high producing realtors and lenders. It's different. It's more like, here's the model, follow the model. I'm going to hold you accountable to it. You're big boys and girls, we expect you to do the work. And so that was it's more like that kind of a coaching environment. And actually, it was the day I've had a couple of turning points in this team. And the day that this T-shirt was born, my frustration with my inability to lead the team, the lack of success we were having, made me really dive into myself because, leadership comes from the top. And, as Jeff Black teaches us, we need personal accountability. So I said, I got to go back and look at that. And, and I, hate to admit it, but I always kind of thought of leadership as something from the front, like the general and the army, and here we're going and we're going to battle and I'm going to lead you. And I'm sorry to say, I kind of thought of it that way. And what I've come to find out, it was more like leadership from behind. And that kind of sounds kind of a little weird. So let me explain what I mean. As opposed to, showing, telling, encouraging, carrot, stick, I've learned, and a lot of it had to do with that conversation I had with Nick about the 20%, is that what I learned is leadership is more like being by their side. All right. Knowing, because everybody's different. What they want for themselves and what I want for themselves, maybe two different things, and that's okay. We're two different people. So, number one, I got to understand their why that makes them cry. What's your why that makes you cry? Right. And keep them focused on that. And I learned that leadership is more about asking questions so they can have their own experience of personal discovery. My team can have come to their own conclusions, which are frequently mine, that they see the benefit to them. People don't do things because you tell them to. They do that because they see the benefit to them. Just go try that with on your 6-year-old or 9-year-old. Clean your room, clean your room, and you get an ice cream. Okay, that's the benefit to them. So once they had taken ownership of it and taken ownership of the systems and why the structure is here and see the benefit to them, it's been night and day difference, really.
Yeah, something you said that really resonated was, see what the why that makes you cry, yes. But also something that LPT CEO Robert Palmer says very well is what is the ideal definition of success of the individual in your business, right? Because that's as leaders, we have almost a fiduciary duty to that person's individual definition of success. I love it. So, talking about accountability and systems, let's talk about standards. What standards do you have on your team that keep things on track?
Kind of a baseline standard. We all use follow up boss and a baseline. So the standards that I have are all based on things that if I know they do, they will be successful. And I tried to present them that way. And they're tools that I've learned from people who have gone before me. So in terms of follow up boss, if you're not talking to 10 new clients, if you're not claiming 10 new clients after having a meaningful 2-minute conversations a day, 10 a week, or having the 10 conversations, maybe you don't want to claim all 10. That's a bare minimum. So, and I had to learn the difference between a standard and a goal. A standard is the minimum. A goal is what we shoot for because the real numbers for those metrics, 10 a week is not going to get you where you want to go. 20 a week is your real standard. And if you want to talk to Dustin Runyon, it's 35. And he's had some success, right? I think Matt Smith's the same thing too. But so that would be a mere standard. We have standards of attendance for attendance on our morning team huddle. We have one from 8:45 to 9, 4 days a week. And then we have a team meeting from 10:30 to 12 on the 5th. We have standards of what the levels of accomplishment they need, the metrics they need to have in their first 90 days, in their first 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. We have a standard for the number of units to be closed in the year, below which, I'm sorry, we're going to part ways. And at each point, if they're meeting their standards, then, we're going to have a conversation about it. It's not about me wagging my finger at them. It's about me supporting them for their success. And if they can't do the standards of that, we have a standard of lead gen time daily.
So, building a team isn't just about standards and about numbers. It's about getting the right people. So, how do you protect a culture and still grow at the same time? What's worked for you?
We're here to be of maximum service to our clients and model a level of professionalism in the real estate industry. Our beliefs are honesty, integrity. And to me, integrity means we do the right thing even when nobody's looking.
Yeah. Good definition, Kathy.
And grit. Okay. We're education based and we believe in personal development. We work as a team, and as a team together, we accomplish more. We believe who you work with matters. We give back to our community and we win the day every day. That's who we are as a team.
I love that. Do you have them memorized or are you reading them right now?
98% memorized in case I choked, right? I had a little book here. I haven't memorized, but you know. And actually, that's where I started. Where this all started, Suneet, was back in that January when I decided I want to do this. I ran across a webinar that you guys had put on, and I think it was Reside, but I didn't realize that at the time. talking about building a team, and they said the place to start is with your mission, vision, and I call it purpose, values, and beliefs. And so I got clear on that first. And we also, when we talk about modeling a level of professionalism in the real estate industry, it's that we believe this is not an adversarial process. We work to a win win, as Gary Keller would say, win win or no deal. Oh, and we don't like grumpy groupers. We have fun. We get our team meeting last week was just we did exercise called Go to the Board. We had a blast supporting each other. How can you want to be supported? You know, hot sauce wise, what kind of hot sauce do you want? We have one gal that wanted ketchup and one gal that wanted ghost pepper in terms of support.
Love it. Oh, I wonder where you're getting all this stuff from. Yes, I love it.
R&D, baby.
Yes, R&D.
No, it's you follow the model, and we have people who frequently we have people who self-select what to leave the team, and that actually makes me kind of happy because my job is to show you what it's really, really going to take to be successful. And if after you see that, it's not the amount of work that you're willing to commit to, fine, that's great, and I'm glad you figured that out in 90 days.
Ideal definition of success. Yeah, if this isn't something that you're into, then cool.
Yeah, and learn it fast. Don't be like the rest of the realtors. It takes them 5 years before they run screaming from the business with credit card debt and behind on their taxes.
Yeah. Oh, good point. So, your daughter works with you.
She does.
Do you love it? Of course, you're gonna say you like it.
I love it when I love it. You know, there's challenges when you're working with family, right? And especially, I want to the line between boss or leader and mom, it needs to stay separate. So sometimes that line gets blurred a little bit, but she's not with me because she's my daughter. She's with me because we were starting to expand and I needed another role filled, and she came to me and she sold me on it.
Okay, so she hadn't been hanging out around real estate for a long time?
Yeah, she got her license when she was 18 or 19.
Okay, so she was following in her footsteps kind of, or at least had her license. I mean, I'm asking for a selfish reason because as you know, I have 2 young daughters, and something that has always sounded cool to me is the family business vibe. I mean, they probably want nothing to do with dad's business. That's what they say now, at least. And they got a long ways to go, at least 9 years till my eldest is 18.
You've got years to brainwash them.
Yeah. So, what's been your biggest surprise this current chapter of your team?
You know, Suneet, my biggest surprise is how much I really love my team members.
What a good answer. You've created a family, haven't you?
Well, and I'm not really a social kind of person. I'm a get into the office, put your head down, do your work. You know, I'm good with my clients, you know, love my clients, but just, you know, the team really has become somebody that we all care about each other, and I care about every single one of them. And I had one of them, her kitty cat died the other day, so you know we're there to support her, and yeah, it does kind of feel like a family.
That's awesome. So, second to last question. What advice do you have for other team leaders listening to you right now?
Well, you know, if you're in the messy middle, I would stop and think about why you chose to do this. Because if you chose to do this to make a lot of money and have less time, you might want to reevaluate that, right? What was your intention? What's the goal? What's your why that makes you cry? That sort of thing. Because that model of the solo, you know, I'm kind of a numbers person. If you're a solo agent, the model I described, solo agent with buyer's agent or showing agent, assistant, two VAs, buying leads, do everything you need to do. If you're at the gold standard, you're running about a 50% profit model. After you build up, please correct me, Sadiq, because you're the guy who knows this, but after you build out the team and you get everything going, and if you're at a 25% profit margin, that's success. So if you're in the messy middle, and you know, I was looking forward to doing this podcast with you because people don't talk about this very much. I don't know. Sarah Hardy said it the other day. I wrote it down. It was, oh, the sage on the stage, right? The sage on the stage. She was from being the sage on the stage to the guide by their side. That's kind of what I've done. But It ain't all glitter, man. The first step I would do is take a reassessment and make sure that this is what you really want to do, because there's a thing called the principle of sunk costs. And the principle of sunk costs means I've come this far down the road. I've spent this much money. It's too late to turn around because I've come this far. I've spent this much. Well, then the question is, what if you're on the wrong road?
Good advice. So yeah, get real clear, right? I think people need to stay real clear and stay real self-aware. I also think that if you're in the messy middle, you should pick up the damn phone and recruit more agents.
KFR solves all problems. But yeah, if you make the decision, okay, self reflection, you've made the decision, yes. And been a couple points, Suneet, when I was ready to throw in the towel. And I had to, why I mentioned that me making a decision at the beginning of
Yeah,
this,
you made your mind up.
I said, you know what? I made the decision. When I burned the boat the first time, it was a car that wouldn't turn right. So who cares, right? This time, I haven't burned the boats, but I had to remind myself, no, I'm doing this because I wanted the challenge and I have to stay into it. So the advice I would give to the person who is struggling, and we don't really like to admit it if we are sometimes, is to find a mentor. Find somebody whose model you respect, whose model you would like to have, who you respect, and find that mentor. If it's a coach, if it's another team member, if it's got reside here, and it's not all about a plug about reside, except I'm very happy. Find a mentor and do the work. And I think you're probably going to find a lot of it's inside work.
Love it. What a good answer. If somebody wants to send you a referral or talk to you more, how do they find you?
Happy to do that. Email, great way, Kathy, Kathy at Courtney, my last name, Courtney, Courtney, Group, NV, as in the state of Nevada.com, or text me. Don't call, don't leave voicemail messages, not effective. Text me 775-225-6961.
You guys send Kathy all your referrals in Reno. Hit her up. She is a very cool, interesting person with lots of good value to provide, I think. And obviously, you dropped some heat on this one, Kathy.
Thanks, Sydney. It's been my pleasure.
Good. Everyone, thank you so much for listening and tuning in to this episode of the Reside Platform podcast. Make sure you click like and subscribe and send Kathy all your referrals. Until then, we'll see you on the next episode of the Reside Platform podcast. Bye-bye.